Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day and welcome to another enthralling episode of the headliner titled Meet the Elders on your favorite channel Mikiya TV. I'm your host Umar Dandago. Well, as you know, as the tradition of this show Meet the Elders, we seek out elderly people who have contributed to the development of our community and society and religion especially. Sit down with them, talk to them about their contributions, and try and iron out some of the controversial issues that they are connected to, or they have said, or they have done, or something like that. At the end of the day, the main theme of this conversation is for the younger generation to learn 1, 2, or 3 things about their lives and struggle. Today, I am at the residence of Professor Umar Muhammad Labdo, a prominent professor of Islamic political thought, and as someone who is thought to be an influencer, especially on social media, whose writings, publications, and criticisms or critiques are available on the internet and on social media. He is said to be, and believed by many people to be one of the controversial scholars that we have here in northern Nigeria, who does not believe in, well, a lot of things that we can term as the status quo. He believes that, well, rising against bad leaders is okay in the religion, and this is something that a lot of scholars here in this part of the country do not believe in. He's too harsh, too tough on Shia and Shiites. He's also too tough on Emir Muhammad Sanusi II, and that makes a lot of people think he is anti-Sanusi, or he just hates Sanusi for one reason or the other. Well, in the course of the program, we are going to iron out all these issues and give him the platform to respond, to react to some of these accusations, if we can put them in context. Well, Professor Umar Muhammad Labdo, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure. Before we dive deeply into the contentious issues, let's get to know who is Professor Umar Labdo.
Well, I was born in Kano in 1960. I did my Quranic studies under my late father. After the death of my father in 1974, I went to Mahad Sheikh Nasir Kabara Islamia Primary School in 1975. In 1977, I graduated from that Islamia and was admitted into the School for Arabic Studies, SAS, the Higher Islamic Studies section, where I spent 4 years. I finished that in 1981, and I taught briefly in Dan Hassan, a town in Kura local government. After that, I went to Usman Danfodio University. At that time, it was known as the University of Sokoto, where I spent 5 years. I studied Islamic studies, Arabic language, and political science, majoring in Islamic studies. After that, I did my NYC in Sokoto. And I came back to Kano briefly, where I taught at a female secondary school in Al-Basu. And later, I also taught briefly at CAS, College of Arts and Science.
That was in
1988, 89. Ending 1988 and early 1989. Then I was given appointment by my university, that is Usman Danfodio University, where I stayed from 1989 until roughly 20 years later. So I did my master's here at Bayero University, Kano. I did my PhD in Sokoto. And I taught in Sokoto for 10 years before going to Islam University in Uganda, where I spent 3 years there. After
as a lecturer?
Yes, a senior lecturer in the Department of Political Science. Because during my master's, I leaned heavily to political science, and I majored in Islam political thought. in which I wrote my dissertation.
So there is an Islamic university in Uganda.
Yes.
East Africa, the country of Idi Amin, the country of Yoweri Museveni right now.
Yes, actually the university belonged to Organization of Islamic Conference. Okay. They built 2 universities for Africans, one for English-speaking Africans, that is the one I work with, and the other for French-speaking Africans, the one they located in Niger Republic, a small town named Sai.
Okay.
Yes, after coming back, I stayed in Sokoto for about 3 years, after which I came to Katsina and contributed in setting up the first Islamic community-based university in Nigeria, that is Al-Qalam University in Katsina. I was the acting vice chancellor, actually the second, not pioneer.
Okay, the second.
I was the second vice chancellor, yes. And I was there for 4 years, after which I left.
From which year to which year?
From 2005 to 2009.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, in 2009, I moved to Kaduna State University, Kasu, where I taught for 3 years, from 2009 to 2013.
Yes.
Then our university here, Yusuf Metamasila University, was opened in 2013. Yeah, actually 12 is the setting up, but the operation began. So I had been in Yusuf Metamasila University since then. That is my study journey, right from Quran school to my PhD, which I did in Sokoto.
And looking at the fact that many of your children are huffaz of the Holy Quran, they have memorized the Holy Quran, I would say without any shred of doubt that you had memorized the Holy Quran.
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. What an irony.
You see, when I studied the Quran, it was not fashionable to memorize the book.
Okay.
We only made do with the sauka.
Okay. That means you can recite from book cover to cover.
From cover to cover, yes. And I memorized some parts of it, but I cannot be called a hafiz.
Okay.
I'm not a hafiz.
Is it Professor Umar Labdo being so humble that he could not admit memorization?
No. That is the truth.
That's fantastic. So how happy are you when you look at your children and you see a lot of them have memorized the Holy Quran? My friend Abdurrahman is even teaching at Islamia. How do you feel?
Alhamdulillah, it is a source of joy, and I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And I think it is the most important thing that you can give to your children. They memorize the Quran, they learn about their religion, then of course they also read about the modern sciences. So as you know, my children, I have 4 graduates now, and I have 3 on the way.
MashaAllah.
And the one you have just met,
yes,
he came back from his master's.
Wow, MashaAllah.
Just less than 2 weeks ago.
Fantastic.
So Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. He did his masters in India. Yeah, he told us that he did it in Rajasthan.
Yes.
That's fantastic. We wish you and them all the best.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah. So we mostly try and fish out some important lessons for especially the younger generation who are watching us. What's the lesson right now? What did you do that has made all these achievements possible when you were young?
Well, first of all, I was greatly inspired by my late father. He was 61 when I was born to him.
Wow.
So I looked like his grandchild. But he took me wherever he went. And the people were joking with him. And he will tell them seriously, no, it's not my jika, it's my son.
That's fantastic.
So it was from there that I got my inspiration. Actually, there is practically no non-scholar whose house I have not entered. Most of them, I ate with them, despite my age at the time. So I became very much interested in learning, which was actually the occupation of my father. Like I told you,
definitely.
I did my sauka under my father. So that is what I saw happening in our house. And something of interest is that I did my You know, we use Allah.
Yeah. Yes.
As time.
Wow.
Yes. So I did my babbaku and farfaru in full day.
Alu ambaki wawzal.
So I did it in Fulani language.
I mean, how could it be? You're learning babbaku. I mean,
yes.
Quran.
Alu ambaki.
Alu ambaki.
Yeah.
How could it? Could you recite it in Fulfulde?
Of course.
How is it?
Fulfulde, they have their own.
Okay.
Like I think also. In Maiduguri, they have their own.
Yeah, as Kanuri.
The Kanuri.
So if I say Alu Ambaki Wawzal, how do you say it in full?
Alif Lam Mas Do be Lam Mas Les be Li Lam Hoi Mimara.
Oh my God. I've never heard this. I have never heard this. And I think maybe this will force me to go and marry a Fulani guy. Definitely. Oh, that's fantastic. So the lesson is, your father, you were very close to your father. He used to go wherever possible with you. He used to take you to different Quranic scholars, Islamic scholars. So the lesson is, first of all, young people should be good people, should be virtuous, and they should be close to their children and take them to places where Quran is taught, where Hadith is taught, and so on and so forth. That's the lesson.
Yeah, they socialize them. Actually, they take them to schools, they take them to prominent people, introduce them to them. They take them where marriage is contracted and so on and so forth. All these social and educational things. They introduce them early in life. It's very important.
So let's stay. Okay, you are Fulani. One of the cultures of Fulani, I stand to be corrected, is that the firstborn, you cannot mention the firstborn's name, right?
That is
and you try to avoid any relationship with your first child.
No. That one is wrong. You don't mention them, we don't mention them.
But then you try to associate that person with your sister or brother, not as your own son.
No, that is in the olden days.
Okay.
Now you bring up your first son, and also you draw him closer to you as the rest of them.
Do you call your first son by his or her first name?
Yeah, I call him by his first name. He is Ahmad.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
Well, I don't think this is possible with his mother. Can she do that?
His mother is only half Fulani, so don't count her.
That's fantastic. Let's move on. Yes. I was speaking to my friend a few minutes ago before we came here, and he told me that you had taught them at university when he was doing his undergraduate at Yusuf Metamasile. He was surprised when I told him that you are a historian. He just know, to the best of his knowledge, you are an expert of Islamic political thought. But then a lot of people know that you do history, you read history. What is the source of inspiration? What has inspired you throughout your life to have deep interest, deep passion for history?
Well, first of all, you know, history is related to political science. You cannot do political science without knowing a bit of history. Number two is that our father had the habit of narrating to us the lives of prophets, the lives of companions of the Prophet and the life of Usman Ambodio and some of his disciples. So it is from there that I developed this interest in history. So I really read a lot about history, both Islamic history and world history.
So we have this deeply rooted culture of oral literature in this part of the country, north, and it's from there you picked up the interest of going deeper, much deeper into the history, the field of history.
Yeah.
How significant is this oral literature which is probably now dying?
Unfortunately, it is dying, but it is very, very important because it used to be the way that history was transmitted from the older generation to the new generation. So it was a very important vehicle of maintaining culture and history. Unfortunately, I don't think we can continue with it now because of the changes. Now children watch TV instead of listening to elders, and also the nature of the time now. But actually, we benefited from it. I think maybe my generation is the last to really benefit from it because until now, I memorized many folklore, Tatunia. Yeah, and sometimes I narrate it, I relate it to my children.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yes. So, you think there is no way we can revive it?
I don't think so, because some sense, if they go fast, they will never be brought back because of the situation.
So now let's move on. Reading culture. A lot of people now complain that young people are not into reading. They do not read at all because of especially social media. I don't know whether you believe that social media has contributed largely towards the death, if not, the decline, if not the death of reading culture. Do you share this belief?
Actually, you cannot absolve social media. It must have a share of the blame. But as far as I am concerned, the main blame is on the parents.
Okay.
Because all my children, the females and the males, they are avid readers.
Wow.
And I made sure that they become so. If you read my second born, Zaid, he finished his degree of civil law in ABU. In his acknowledgements, he mentioned this fact. He said, my father made me an avid reader.
MashaAllah.
So I buy books. I buy books, and I make sure they start reading in Hausa.
Okay.
Yeah, they master Hausa reading. Then I introduce them to English. So that is the way I was taught.
Okay.
Yeah, and I find it is a very good way, because I am very, very much a defender of Hausa language.
Okay.
And I will not mind if Nigeria adopts Hausa as the lingua franca.
Yeah.
And I think we should try this.
Okay. We should advocate for using the Hausa language as the lingua franca.
Of course.
Which is virtually impossible because of the diversity of the country.
It is not impossible.
And the Hausa people are not influential enough to push this.
That one I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, as a country, people, different segments of the country have to make certain sacrifices. So Yorubas and the Igbos have to make sacrifices to us Hausa, because our language is more developed than their own. And it is more spread in the world today, and it is more important, and it has more speakers, both native and non-native.
Some people.
So why not allow it to be the lingua franca of Nigeria? Not only of Nigeria, but of many countries in West Africa.
Some people would disagree with you, given the fact that there is not enough literature written in Hausa language.
It's not correct to say that.
I recently had an interview with an American who is doing a PhD in Yoruba culture, and I asked her, why not Igbo culture? Why not Hausa culture? She said, to the best of her knowledge and to the best of her search and research, she did not find enough literature she was looking for in Hausa language, and that's why she went for Igbo, and she went for Yoruba.
I think her knowledge of Hausa is shallow. Hausa has the largest body of literature in all the West African languages.
But not on the internet.
Well, maybe
they are in the library.
They are in the library. Others are in circulation.
So somebody in the US could not find them.
Yes, could not find them, but
could easily find something written in Yoruba.
But if you are seriously looking for something, you should not stop at internet only. Why didn't she travel to Nigeria? A lot of Europeans who learn Hausa, they come to Nigeria. They come to Kano, spend the time here learning. If she came to Nigeria, and especially to Kano, she will not have told you that untruth.
Okay.
It is not true that there is no literature in...
I did not say there is no literature. There's not enough literature in the language for someone doing PhD to be able to do it.
How many PhDs are done in Hausa? Do you know? And how many universities in the world are giving PhDs in Hausa? In Germany, you can get PhD in Hausa. In France, you can get PhD. In UK, you can get PhD in Hausa. In US, you can get PhD in Hausa. Not in one university, but in a number of universities.
Okay, in the world. So maybe what she was looking for was not relevant to her.
Well, maybe she was looking for a certain area of either the literature and so on.
Something like that.
But really, she should have come to Nigeria. You can't learn Hausa and speak about Hausa without having visited the birthplace of Hausa.
Yes, definitely. You've already started talking about, well, I don't know, the controversial issues that many people link you to. This issue of using Hausa language as the lingua franca of Nigeria. One of the reasons why it could not be possible is because it would create division. Those other people, even though you said they should make this sacrifice, Yorubas and Igbos would feel sidelined if we were to use Hausa language as the official language of Nigeria. And that's why English maybe is the best language to unify the country?
Well,
I'm sure you would disagree with that.
Number one, I believe that you cannot learn, a country cannot develop educationally, scientifically, and technologically using a foreign language. You just can never. And I'm not aware of a country which has really been developed using foreign language.
Foreign language?
Yes. Can you name one?
Let's try and do some analysis. Okay. In Africa, which country would you? Okay, you're challenging me.
Yes,
I'm thinking. Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking. But then they would say language does not have anything to do with development. It's not about language. It's about political will and leadership to be able to put in place.
Language has everything to do with the development. Because to be you, you have to speak your language. And that, to me, it is one of the first steps of developing. To be you. Now, a lot of our young men, they don't know who they are. That is why they borrow everything. And they don't feel anything to abandon their culture and borrow new culture. What you see in TikTok is part of the reason, because these young men are rootless. They don't know their... Now, we don't teach history in primary schools. We no longer teach history in secondary school. Even in universities, it is mostly by name alone. So, one of the first steps of development is to speak one's language. That is where you receive the wisdom of your people. That is, if you have it. If you don't have it, that is another thing. But we have a lot of history. We have a lot of culture. We have. So why go borrowing from others when our own is quite enough for us?
Some people would say, look at Hong Kong. It's highly developed, and their lifestyle is purely Western.
Not lifestyle. I am talking about language here. Not lifestyle.
They speak English.
No.
Because they were the colony of Britain. The British handed them back to the Chinese somewhat in the 1990s during Margaret Thatcher, I suppose.
They are the colony of England. But look at the educational system.
I'm sure it's better than that of Nigeria.
It's better, of course. It's better than that of Nigeria. But we are talking about passing the knowledge. Passing the knowledge. Now, if you go to university, for example, to read a certain course, not in your language, what you find yourself is you find yourself learning two things: learning the language and also learning the subject that you registered to learn.
Yeah.
So it is very, very important to have a language, and I don't claim to be very well knowledgeable in Hausa, but I read Hausa, and I appreciate Hausa songs and also Hausa poems.
Oh, okay.
You know, we have poems.
Yeah.
And we have songs. I appreciate both.
You listen to Hausa songs?
Of course. I have been listening to it for over 40 years.
Including the contemporary ones?
Not contemporary ones. I'm talking about Mamman Shata.
Okay.
I'm talking about Dan Anache. I'm talking about this Sokoto area. This and also traditional rulers, singers, and so on.
But you don't listen to the contemporary ones?
No.
The ones for Kannywood?
I am not interested in them. They don't carry anything.
Some of them also are studied at universities.
Well, maybe they study them because they are studying modern literature or something.
Okay.
But actually, they are not very serious.
Okay.
You cannot expect somebody of my age to waste time listening to those.
Okay.
And I am quite okay. I cannot appreciate them.
All right.
Yes.
That's your blunt opinion. Let's move on. Let's talk about your publications. Talk us through briefly some of them before we get to talk about other controversies associated to you. Briefly, which among the papers or books that you have written is the best to you?
Well, I wrote a number of papers, but I will give you two names. Now, there is a paper I wrote, I think it was in 2014 or 2015, here at UCM Tabasli, about this Arab Spring.
Yes.
Now, that paper is very good because it generated a lot of interest. And the other paper which I like dearly is the one I wrote about Abbas Mahmoud al-Akkad. Abbas Mahmoud al-Akkad is an Egyptian politician, journalist, academic. He died in 1964, by the way. I did my master's, and he's part of his legacy.
Okay.
So I wrote a lot about him, but I wrote about his contribution to Islamic constitution.
Okay. So was he related to Muslim Brotherhood?
No, actually he was against them.
And ironically, you were interested in him.
Yeah, I'm interested in him very much.
Despite the fact that he was anti-Muslim Brotherhood.
Of course.
A movement that you support.
Yeah, I can differentiate between the two. Now this one is, he is a journalist, he is a politician, because he was one time member of the Egyptian parliament. And actually he was a literary figure, very important literary figure in Arabic. And Arabic is one of my major interests.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So that issue, or that paper that you wrote about the Arab Spring, in summary, were you still in support of the uprising?
Yeah, of course, I'm in support of uprising. You see,
those guys.
Arabs have despondent leaders who have been sitting on their chests, and they deny them basic freedoms, and some of them even steal their money, and they are introducing foreign cultures into their lives. And for all those reasons, I think they should not be there, because they are not representing the people, they are not acting in the interests of the people. Therefore, the people should change their regimes. So I actually supported the Arab Spring, and I still support it.
So let's get this clear. If you were back in 2011 in support of Arab Spring, were you in support of the US invasion of Iraq to quote-unquote liberate the Iraqis from a dictator called Saddam Hussein?
How can I be in support of America invading a Muslim Arab country? That is not possible.
But they said he was denying his people basic rights.
Yeah.
And the title is, they tag it as liberation.
But they should leave it to the citizens of the country. Because if they liberate them from him, they are going to impose their own dictatorship on them, which may be even worse than the local dictatorship. So I don't believe in foreign invasions or exporting solutions from other peoples and other nations. I believe solutions should come from the people themselves. And that is why I'm very ardent about culture, about history, about literature. All these are contributory factors that help a country to reflect on its past and also look ahead to its future and decide for itself.
Recently, in August, there was a protest in Nigeria, an anti-government protest tagged End Bad Governance protest. Prior to the protest, you and a couple of scholars engaged in sort of debate, especially on social media. You were in support of the protests, and you felt like it's okay. You still believe that it's okay for the people to rise against their own leaders. When it happened, or after it happened, there were casualties. Some people were killed as a result of the protest. Some people looted other people's properties, shops, and so on and so forth. Did you feel uncomfortable given the outcome of the protest that you had, well, sort of supported?
No, not at all. Number one, I believe that all people have right to rise if they feel it is a way to change their own situations. Now, about bad government, no one is in doubt that we are grappling with bad government in Nigeria here. Not only bad, very, very bad government in Nigeria. So to protest, the sort of protest that we saw in August, that is a very minor thing.
Okay.
Yeah, just
minor thing.
Of course, it's a minor thing.
You wanted to be blown out of proportion?
Not I wanted, but I said, given the situation that we are living and given the magnitude of the bad governance that we are having to contend with, that one is a child's play. These people, we should overthrow them.
Some people were killed. Some people died in the process. Other people lost their properties. And you're saying that it's a minor thing, so you're not even regretting the outcome of the protest.
People have to die, my friend. Death is natural. And everyday people die. And if you are destined to die through a cause, you have to die through that cause. Some people die as a result of road accidents. Some die as a result of armed robbery. Some die as a result of banditry. Women die as a result of giving birth. People die.
Some of the examples you have
natural.
Yeah.
So you cannot expect people to change without it. There has to be a price.
Some of the examples you have cited now are natural. Women dying as a result of childbirth, but then dying as a result of protest. That one, some people would say it's malicious.
What do you
it's
say?
Problematic.
What do you say about dying as a result of banditry?
So who is to blame now?
Well,
when people die as a result of banditry, who is to blame?
You can't blame one source or one set of people, because there are a lot of factors that contributed to the appearance and development of this very negative trend in our life. So that one we cannot discuss it here.
You feel it's unfair to blame the Fulanis for banditry? It's unfair.
Well, you cannot blame it all on the Fulanis, because Fulanis are also victims. Yeah.
Victim of what? Of
the society, of the bad governance, of the circumstances. You know, Fulani are among the kindest people on earth. And in Hausa, if you say Yaimun Platanchi, it means he is kind to you, he's
shy,
modest. He is modest, he is understanding.
But then those modest, kind, understanding, humble people, or from those people, some of them have sort of carved out, taken up arms, killing people.
Well, that to show you there has to be a reason behind it. It did not occur just like that. Now, let me give you the, in brief. You see, Fulani used to contribute to the revenue of the government, especially in northern Nigeria. That Jangali.
Yeah.
Now contributed, I can't say because I don't have the figures.
Okay.
But actually it is either more than half or close to half before the coming of Europeans and until the independence.
Yes.
Now in 1979, suddenly that tax was stopped.
Okay.
It might have been out of good reasons or motives.
Yeah.
But actually, it brought problems on the Fulani.
Okay.
Because government abandoned Fulani. Before that, government used to treat Fulani as their special babies. Yeah. So they care about them. They take care of their cattle. They give them protection and so on and so forth. Now, after the abolishment of the Jangali, yes. Fulani were left on their own. Okay. And you know, most of them were illiterate, and therefore they should not cough. And other factors also entered this development, population explosion, and so on and so forth. So they started getting their backs to the wall. And another thing is corruption. A lot of security personnel and local authorities, they connived to even sometimes confiscate cattle from the Fulani. And for over 20 years, Fulanis have been victims. Actually, they were killed, their livelihood was taken away. Even their women were raped, their villages were burnt down, they were driving out of their ancestral places. And all while this was taking place, no one was even aware, because at the time there was no social media, therefore.
And they failed to report it to the authority?
How can they report it if they cannot read, they cannot write, if they don't know where's to the city? They don't even come to the city. They go to market villages where they sell their cows, buy their needs, and go back to the bush. That is their life. So they reacted.
They were victimized.
They were victimized.
And that victimization
turned them into very, very vicious. Yes, very vicious ones. Very vicious ones.
And who is to blame?
You cannot blame one factor or one set of people or one authority. Like I told you, it is a number of factors. So it is a subject of study. That is what we should do. Study it, go and meet these people, and also meet people who are interested in the academia about this. Now we have academics like the one from Usman Ampodio University who wrote a book, I am Bandit. No, okay. I am Bandit.
Okay.
Maybe you have not read that book. You should read it.
Okay.
I am Bandit. He is a lecturer, I think, senior lecturer of Usman Ampodio University, Department of History or something. So,
Dr. Murtala.
Yeah,
I think his name is Dr. Murtala.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So these problems need studying.
Okay, it needs studying. Now, do you think the way some of the Fulanis have reacted to the victimization they were subjected to is legitimate?
It cannot be legitimate, but it can be understood.
Okay.
Yes, and that is what we want to
sympathized with.
Yeah, of course, even sympathize.
Okay.
Because they were forced to. These people are also being killed. They are also being displaced. They kill and they get killed.
Okay.
They displace people and they get displaced. They take people's properties and they have their properties confiscated. So they are victims and they are villains. But all this does not justify their crimes, because it is crime, and the crime is crime. But we should understand it. Understanding it is very, very important, because it is a first step towards resolving all the conflicts.
And are you satisfied with the efforts put in by the federal government in tackling the banditry in the north?
To tell you the truth, I'm not, because as far as I am concerned, I can only see politics. I can only see politics in this, and you know, unfortunately, our security apparatus now, they have also been infiltrated by this corruption. They are trying to turn the whole thing into a very big industry. They claim this money for security, which are unaccounted for, and so on and so forth. A lot of hands has to be put on deck if we want to solve this problem. But it should not be left with the politicians and the people in government. I don't think they can solve this problem, because they have no intention in the first place of solving this problem.
So finally, on this issue of Fulani, one thing, do you believe in the conspiracy theory that people are spreading, that some very powerful people are capitalizing on, I'm sorry to use this word, ignorance of the Fulanis, or lack of knowledge of the Fulanis, are capitalizing on that by giving them arms, weapons, to do this kidnapping and banditry on their behalf, while they are the ones reaping the fruit, getting the money, leaving the Fulanis to sort of rot and die in the bushes?
There are different interests that are involved. First, there are people who are our opponents politically. So whatever will weaken us, they welcome it. So I believe some of those people, they have started using this situation to divide between the Hausa and the Fulani. Because Hausa, when you put them together with Fulani, they are unstoppable force, not only in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa. That is my belief. So they want to separate between these two tribes, so say, even though it is not easy to do, but they are trying their best to do that. Those people, if we say they supply arms, it may be possible they supply arms, but I have not conducted any research, therefore I will not talk just offhand. Now that is number one. Number two, for many, many years, arms have been entering Nigeria. And this anonymous airstrips that are being discovered from time to time, and when they are discovered, you never hear about it again. They also bring arms, and there are local arm manufacturers. All these things are recorded, and arrests have been made, some brought to courts, but like I told you, politicians and the people in government cannot be trusted to solve people's problems. People must be active themselves, and maybe government help them if they are interested.
Must be active. By being active, you mean rise above, against?
No, not rising. It is not everything that you rise.
Okay. I'm afraid of these these vocabularies that you're using.
No. What I mean is study the thing, and also discuss it, and also let people know, and talk with their representatives. Even though I almost condemn politicians, And I'm sure every aware Nigerian will have the same attitude. But still, I know some things we have to cooperate with them. For example, our representatives in the National Assembly, we have to talk to them. We have to demand that this is what we want you to do. These are the things that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Not right.
And the beautiful thing is that we are operating, or we claim to operate democracy. And after every 4 years, we have the opportunity of voting someone in or out of the office. Let's move on. What do you say to the people who call you, who dub you as a controversial figure?
Well, I have nothing to say with them. I am doing my own part to help my people, help my country, and that is the best way I believe I should do it. So people have the right to say whatever they want about me. I also say things about people.
Are you controversial? Are you controversial?
I don't think I am controversial. But if I have an idea, nothing stops me from expressing my thoughts and my beliefs. Okay. So if that is controversy, then maybe.
But you look at things in a totally different angle from the mainstream society. First of all, you have a totally different view, though you are Sunni, but you criticize the Saudi monarchy, and you criticize Emir Muhammad Sanusi II, who is the 14th and possibly 16th Emir of Kano. There's a controversy here. First of all, do you hate, do you loathe, do you detest Emir Muhammad Sanusi II, and why?
I have no reason to hate him. Okay. As far as I am concerned, he is my brother. Okay. He is a Muslim, he is a Fulani, he is a Kano citizen. Why should I hate him? And I think he is a very, very brilliant somebody, and he did his contribution to his country, and he is still doing. But then the area that I criticize him about is the area that I feel I should also make my criticisms.
What areas?
Now, areas of religion. Okay. You know, Muhammad Sanusi is trying to separate liberal Islam.
Okay.
You know, Western countries, especially USA, they divided Islam into three.
Okay.
They said there are three versions of Islam. Number one is traditional Islam. That is what they call it.
Okay, traditional Islam.
Yeah, traditional Islam is the Islam of the Sufis.
Okay.
They say these are innocent people. This we can do business with them. That
Tijaniya, Qadriya,
and
the rest.
And many others, not in Nigeria only.
Okay.
Yeah, in the whole world.
Okay.
Now, number two, version 2 is liberal Islam. Okay. Now, liberal Islam started with the Orientalists. Orientalists, 200, 300 years ago, they were mostly clergies, Christian or Jewish clergies. They went to Arab countries. That is where the word Orient came. They stayed there for many years. They were very, very dedicated people. They were doing it in the name of their religions. They learned Arabic. They studied Islam. They specialized in many different branches of Islamic studies, some tafsir, some hadith. But it was in history that they did their most damage. Okay. So those people started coming with ideas, and also they went back and they were giving chairs in universities, and they were able to teach some of the early riding academies who later became our role models,
professors.
Yeah, professors, doctors, and so on. And many of our past generation PhD holders, they did their PhDs in London, School of African and Oriental Studies.
SOAS.
SOAS. McGill, I think it is in Canada or somewhere. And many from the Arab countries, they did their PhDs in universities like Sorbonne in France. So they brought back those ideas, and they started spreading the ideas. Now, in the olden days, Orientalists used to say that Islam was spread by a sword. Islam is very violent. The Prophet is a womanizer, and so on and so forth. With the time, they knew that they have to change. So now they started talking about equality between men and women, and this Qawama.
What is Qawama?
Qawama, that is
steadfastness.
Looking after women by men.
Okay.
Or women having authority on their wives and their daughters and so on. They said no. both should be free, and about this inheritance, they say no. Why should a male child, for example, be given twice the female child, and so on and so forth? So then they created what they call Islamic feminism, and so on and so forth. So it is this particular Islam, liberal Islam,
the second category.
The second category. Well, the third category is the fundamental Islam.
Okay.
Now, the liberal Islam also is welcomed by America.
Okay.
They also even fund them. They do business with them.
Okay.
So these two, America welcomes them.
Okay. The traditional, which is that of the Sufis, as you have indicated.
There was time,
and the second one, liberal.
Yes, there was time when American government organized conferences. Actually, even from Nigeria, prominent Sufi leaders attended, and after attending, they spoke with the VOA. They told people what they saw, their experience, and so on and so forth. Then this second one, actually this second version, liberal Islam, is Islam manufactured by Western intelligence agencies, especially CIA, and so on. So the third one is
the fundamental Islam.
That is the one the America is waging war against.
Okay, the Islam of Osama bin Laden.
The Islam of the Salafis and the Ahl Sunnah.
Okay.
Osama bin Laden is an aberration. He came from he came from that brand of Islam, but he's not representing it properly. That is why you find most of the prominent scholars they are not with him.
Okay.
It is only the young people who are very who are in a haste to affect change. They are the ones who are supporting bin Laden.
Did you support him in 2001?
Of course, I supported him. At the time, I was only 30.
Okay.
So I could support the devil at the time.
And now you denounce your support?
I'm not denouncing, but I am trying to modify.
Okay.
Because things are not always...
9/11 was not a jihad. 9/11 attack was not a jihad.
It was not a jihad, but it was not also a terrorism, a terrorist act.
Many innocent people were killed. About 3,000 what?
How many millions were killed by America and the other Western countries? So now, you are free to call that terrorism? No, I cannot call it terrorism. Why? Anybody can call it, because the definition of terrorism itself is a subject of contention.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a politically motivated terminology?
Of course. Okay. And you know that.
So the issue is the overall Taliban. Do you think the Taliban guys are on the right way?
Yeah, the Taliban are on the right way. But
which Taliban? The Taliban of the 1990s or the Taliban of
the Taliban of the 1990s, they were called Mujahideen. And they gave birth to this Taliban. But they have one problem. Okay. They are not learned in Islam.
The ones before or this
Both
one?
of them.
They are not learned in Islam.
Yeah, so a lot of the policies that they implement when they are in power are contrary to Islamic teachings. For example, their policies on women.
Okay.
They are not Islam. You say women cannot study. Why? Are they not human beings? Don't you want them to worship Allah properly? How can you worship Allah without knowing Him, without learning, without being learned?
What if they are just preventing them from going to university to study English literature or Western stuff?
Even English literature and Western everything, it is useful in the world. Okay. We need women doctors, we need women teachers, we need women nurses. How can you prevent half society from learning? Half ignorant, half learned.
Well, but then their policy on hijab is okay.
Well, even hijab, okay. that burqa, that burqa is not Islamic.
What is it?
It's cultural.
But it covers every part of women.
It covers every part, but Islam says every part except the face and the palms. So, burqa is not Islamic. Burqa is cultural. So it is not to be imposed on women. But if individual women choose to wear it or to use it, there's no problem. If their husband wanted them to do and they agree to do, there's no problem. But even a husband, as far as I am concerned, even a husband cannot impose burqa on his wife. So, because it is only Allah that will impose a rule.
So to translate it back to our society, wearing niqab to you is problematic?
No, not problematic. It's something that is well known. It is not an Islamic requirement. It is not an Islamic requirement. Even the most ardent Salafis, that is what they say. For example, Albani,
yes,
of blessed memory, he said that clearly. He said it is not a requirement of the Sharia, but I would like my daughters and my wives to wear it.
Okay, for security purpose.
Not for security purpose. Okay. Just for him to be satisfied that
that's the security I'm talking about. That's the security I'm talking about. Oh, okay. So fundamental Islam is the third category of the Western version of Islam, or Western categorization of Islam.
Yes.
Which version does Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the Emir of Kano, belong to?
The second one, liberal Islam. Liberal Islam.
You quoting, let me quote you something. Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa, in a lengthy article, rejoinder to some of your publications, published in December 2019, he criticized you. First of all, he says, and I quote, Umar Labdo has made himself the most vocal and virulent critic of Sarkin Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, the Emir of Kano, in the social media. He overstepped his bounds by being rude to the Emir. He has made wide-ranging accusations alleging that the Emir Sarki is an agent of the Western power who are trying to destroy Muslims. Why have you been for years so harsh on this guy? And do you have any justification whatsoever that he's an agent of the West? Which one? CIA, Mossad, KGB, RAW of India, or what? Or ISI of Pakistan? Which one?
I told you that liberal Islam is the creation of Western intelligence services.
AKA?
Like CIA, especially the CIA.
So Sanusi is a CIA agent?
No, I'm not. You don't put things bluntly like that.
Okay.
Things that usually come under cover.
Okay.
He may not necessarily be doing this intentionally, but to me, that is where he's heading. So,
but you said this ideology was manufactured by the Western intelligence agency,
yes,
specifically the CIA,
yes,
and you said he belongs to this clan.
Yes,
which makes him, by extension, a CIA agent.
For that, I have my reasons for that. Now, everybody knows the close code requirement of Muslim women by the Sharia. There is a clear commandment in Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab. Sanusi is well aware of this, but one of the things which brought us into conflict with Sanusi is when he sent his daughter to Abuja to go and represent him in an occasion, and he came out naked. I use the word naked.
What is that? Oh my God, this is too harsh. Naked.
It's not harsh. Naked, I mean Sharia-wise.
Okay.
Her aura is exposed.
For example, she did not cover her head?
He covered only part of it.
Okay.
Part of her hair was visible. Her ears and the jewelry she was wearing was visible. Her neck was visible. Her arms were visible. So all these are aura. And the aura are translated as nakedness. Okay. I'm not saying that she went out as a mad woman. No.
Okay.
But you have to put it that way in order to call the attention of people.
And instead of criticizing her, you ended up criticizing
Why
him.
should I criticize her when her father sent her like that? Her father who is supposed to guide her, who is supposed to show her the way. That is what we are talking about, Kawama. If she has a husband and her husband decided to allow her to go out in such a way, if I am her father, I will dissolve the marriage. I will try and dissolve the marriage. Or at least I warn the husband. I tell him, look, I don't want my daughter to be going out like that. But now this man wanted to show the world, this is the daughter of the Emir of Kano. Going out in such a manner and facing world cameras to make even speech. Now, this man did not do that in his capacity as ordinary Sanusi. He was doing that as Emir of Kano, and I happen to be a citizen of Kano. I have some certain rights about how Sanusi should behave. Now, to me, Sanusi should not be covered 95% and his daughter covered only 60%. Now that is putting things the other way. See how Sanusi appears. Sometimes only his eyes are visible.
Yeah, sometimes he appears as a royal person, dressed, majestically dressed in a very good way.
Royal.
As a cultural, traditional leader.
No, tell me as an emir.
Okay.
And the emir means Amir.
Yeah.
And the Amir got its beginnings from the Jihad of Osman Dandago. So even if he is called traditional ruler today, he has his own roots in the Islamic system. Okay. So,
only one example you have given of that of his daughter addressing a global gathering in a mode of dress that you felt and you still feel is un-Islamic. Yeah. Cannot justify Sanusi being a CIA agent.
Number two, I didn't say a CIA agent.
Okay, a Western agent.
Western agent.
Okay.
And if you say Western agent, it is a general term. It can be cultural, it can be political, it can even be economic. You know, Sanusi is an ardent supporter of withdrawal of subsidy. And withdrawal of subsidy, you know from where it came. It came from New York, from the IMF. You see? So another thing is where he told our women to slap back when their men slap them. That is a clear reason to think that this man is trying to implement the Western agenda of destroying Muslim family. You know, family is very important in Islam. And all enemies of Islam across ages, they try to attack Islamic family. And this is a direct attack on Islamic family, to tell women to slap back. When we have Hizbah, why not tell them to report at Hizbah? When we have courts, Sharia court, why not? So this man, to me, he was attacking his society, and we have to attack back. And if there were a lot of voices talking about it, I will not even bother myself to talk about it. But it seems that people, whether they were afraid, whether they were being hypocritical, for whatever reason, this man is attacking Islam, and the people are just watching. That made me to be a bit harsh to him. But some of the words you quoted from this writer.
Yes,
no, that was his own choice of words.
Really?
You can read what I said. You can read what I said.
But it's like in the part of the article, he talks a lot about the family law debate, and he said that Emir Sanusi brought together scholars, ulamas, possibly minus you, to talk about the reforms, the issues, and then they ended up at the end agreeing to about 90% or so of his proposal. So this made Madam Kurawa to say that this is why people like Labdo, who parade themselves as scholars, are jealous. I challenge Labdo or any of his fellow propagandists to come up with a scholarly critique of the draft law. This is to...
Now, where is the draft law now? It is no longer there.
No, at the end of the day, he was deposed. And Kurawa accused you of...
now he's back. Why not reintroduce it? He is back, and the government is his government. It's the government that brought him back. Why not reintroduce it if he believes in it?
What if...
Now, he tried to bring something, and people will not accept it. Actually, I was not there in the debate.
Were you invited?
No, I was not invited. I was not there.
And that's why you ended up writing publishing papers and posts on social media criticizing them.
Well, if I see something that should be criticized, I should criticize it. It is my right, and it is my duty to my own people. It is my duty to my own religion and my own country. You see, most of those so-called reforms that are included in that document, they were not acceptable even to the scholar that he invited. And actually, they made him speechless. in that sitting. You have to watch it.
Okay.
I think it is on the...
Final question before we go, Professor Umar Labdo. Some people accuse you of being so aggressively harsh on Shia and Shiites as if they do not worship the same God you worship. That's too much.
Well, I'm not sure if they worship the same God that I worship.
They go to the mosque, they pray, they fast.
No,
they recite the Holy Quran.
I'm just giving you a book now. Go through it. You will find one of their notable scholars, an Algerian citizen. He was saying that they are not worshiping the same God with the Sunnis.
Okay.
He said it, not me.
So who do they worship?
Ask him.
Okay.
But I believe
he's dead.
I give you. I don't know.
What if it was his personal opinion, not reflecting the whole Shia community?
No. If it is his personal opinion, why not his fellow scholars make a rejoinder to him? They should not leave him like that. And this is just one example I'm giving you. I told you I'm not sure if they are worshiping the same God with me, because there are a lot of things behind this statement. I wish that sometimes let us have a talk about Shi'ism.
Okay.
Because it merit this. A lot of people don't know Shi'ism. They don't know where it started from. Shi'ism is a reaction to Islam. Shi'ism was created by Persians. Now, when Islam came, Persians were superpower. They were superpower together with the Romans. Now, Islam destroys their power. And you know they are not Arabs. So they had been looking at the Arabs, looking down at the Arabs as Jahili people and so on.
Okay.
Now, in less than 50 years, Arabs were able to destroy their millennia-old civilization.
Okay.
So they were very, very bitter. But then they had been defeated on the battlefield. Therefore, they adopted this hypocrisy, whereby they said they were followers of the family of the Prophet ﷺ.
Yes, they relate themselves to Sayyidina Ali, the cousin of the Prophet, the husband of Nana Fatima.
But you as Muslim, do you have any difference between Abu Bakr and Ali? Abu Bakr is the
first Khalifa.
The first Khalifa, but before that, he was the closest friend of the Prophet ﷺ. And he was
about that in Islam.
The most prominent member of the Sahaba.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the difference between the Prophet's friend and his nephew?
Well, in Islam, they are the same because they all of them.
You are saying in Islam, what about in Shi'ism?
No, I'm asking you because you are the expert here.
No, I ask you and you are asking me. You say
my job is to put the question to you since you are the expert in Shia.
Sometimes you answer questions, you answer questions by asking questions.
And my job as a journalist is to ask.
You said in Islam, which means you have another thing than Islam.
No, we are Muslims and we follow the religion of Islam. So our reference point is Islam.
But we are talking about Shi'ism. And it went as far as
an ideology that claims to be part of Islam.
Claims, but I tell you that some of them say they are not worshiping the same God with us. And they say our prophet is not the same. And they say our Quran is not the same.
So they read in Iran, in Iraq, in Syria, and other parts of the Middle East. The Quran they read is not the one that we read?
That is what they say.
Have you ever seen a copy of this?
I have never seen a copy of it. Why? Because it does not exist now. They say they are hidden Imam is hiding it. He is hidden and he is hiding it. And they say he will come back with it. And when he come back with it, he will collect all the Qur'ans in our hands and he will burn it down and he will teach us the original real Qur'an.
We need to have a robust conversation about Shi'ism.
That is what I told you.
Very soon, inshallah. Professor
Thank you very
Umar Muhammad Labdo, it's been a pleasure having this debate with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
You very much.
On behalf of everyone that has contributed to the production of the show, my name is Umar Dandago. Not forgetting the producer, Dr. Ali Musa. Ibrahim Salis Nasir is the editor. I'm saying goodbye and see you very soon.